So, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Samplify Show. I know it's been a long time, it's been almost an year, but finally I'm glad to be back. And I'm even more glad that on the relaunch episode we have a guest with us today. And for today's topic, we'll be talking about veganism as the future. So, for that, today we have with us Kashish Setia. She is an animal rights activist, a recently turned vegan, and a good friend of mine. So, Kashish, thank you for being with me on the show today.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me start off the show by asking a simple question, or I'll put it in a form of situation. Let us say I'm an alien from Mars, okay, and I just landed on Earth. So, how would you describe veganism to me?
Okay, so in simple language, veganism is eliminating animal flesh or animal products from your diet.
Mm-hmm.
But for the people who go vegan for the animals because they care about them, it's more like a lifestyle. It's a conscious and responsible decision to reduce as much as suffering as they can
Mm-hmm.
in their everyday lives. It's not just about their diet, it's about the brands they purchase from, it's about for what they wear. Basically, any kind of animal exploitation. Yeah.
Okay, so it's basically like removing everything, everything related to animal which is possible in your diet, right?
Yeah, but it's more than diet. It's like a lifestyle. Like, because in cosmetics, a lot of them are tested on animals. A lot of them have products that are derived from animals. And then like in circuses, like elephant rides, horse rides, all of them come from cruelty because that's not something that is natural to any of them. So boycotting everything like that.
Oh, so it's more than something related to diet. I was actually mistaken because according to what I thought it was only removing all the animal products and byproducts from diet. But yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, as you had said me recently that you had turned a vegan. So, how has your experience been, or what has inspired you to be a vegan?
So, first of all, I always used to claim that I loved animals, but then I recently started to question that if I love animals, if I care for dogs so much, why am I also paying for another animal's abuse or another animal's death? That made me question my morals. So, when I got into it, when I started searching into this topic, I realized that it's just not ethical. It's wrong. So I um, I directly converted into a vegan without having any second thoughts. I didn't know how it was going to work out, but all I knew was I don't want to be a part of their suffering anymore. So and now it's been like 3 months vegan. Now everything's easy for me, the diet part. But what's hard is when people don't want to listen to you, when I put facts in front of them and they deny that no, these are not right. So the diet is not the hard part, but dealing with people or trying to tell them something that they don't know is the hard part.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I understand that because I've seen that. I mean, there's obviously a negative side to everything in this world, but veganism particularly faces a lot of opposition in the world. So, okay, that's my follow-up question to that is how do you inspire someone? Let's say me. Currently, I'm a non-vegetarian. So, how would you inspire me, or what would you tell me, so that I feel motivated to become a vegan?
Okay, so first of all, being a vegan is a single simplest thing that you can do to reduce your food carbon footprint. You can
Mm-hmm.
reduce it by 70% because animal agriculture is the leading cause for climate change and human-made greenhouse gases. So that is one thing. And I have also been a non-vegetarian like for 16, 17 years of my life until
Mm-hmm.
I saw a house video. Before too, I used to think sometimes that my meat is coming from an animal that used to live. But back then, when I used to think about it, that made me a little uncomfortable So I used to separate, or I used to ignore the fact that my food is coming from this place just so that I can enjoy my meal. But few months like ago, when I saw the slaughterhouse video, I realized that this is what happens when I pay for my meal. This is where my food comes from. So, I mean, I have also heard a lot when I used to eat non-veg. I heard a lot like they feed pain, don't eat them. But I always used to ignore it until I saw the footage of what actually happened. So it's better if you see the slaughterhouse video than listen to someone else. I mean, that's important too. But when you see the slaughterhouse video, you it happens that you just cannot let yourself watch something so terrifying. And that is when I realized, if I can't watch something so terrifying, why am I supporting it? My food shouldn't come from a place which is hard to watch. Yeah.
Right. That is actually very true. Okay, so again another question. So do you think vegan food? I mean, it's not that popular yet, which also means that there is not supply for it yet. So as a result, it's getting really costly for maybe low income families to switch to vegan or something like that. So in that case, what could be done? I mean, I'm not asking you for a worldwide solution, but what do you think should be done, to reduce the price or whatever? How can you make this vegan food reachable to every person on earth?
First of all, we've been having vegan food all our life. Pulses,
Hmm.
cereals, rice, the wheat, bajra and all, everything's vegan. The only thing that's expensive are plant-based milk because they are basically from nuts. So first you need to purchase nuts, then you need to convert them into milk, then the packaging. So I think plant-based milk are expensive, and that is why people assume that veganism is expensive, but that's not true at all. I use vegan curd, butter, cheese, and it's literally the same price of the dairy products. So veganism is not expensive. That's what we've been having all our life. So yeah.
Oh, that's actually a very interesting viewpoint to look at it. Okay, so for my final question of the day, what would you like to say to everyone who's present on the live today about like veganism? If you had to say it in this like in one line, how would you like to put veganism as, or how would you like to spread it today in this life?
Um, I just think that this is what our society has been teaching us since the start. And just because something is legal doesn't make it ethical or doesn't necessarily make it right. I mean, there are a lot of things that were legal back then but weren't ethical. So it would be nice if everyone tried to watch slaughterhouse videos, or try to research a bit into it, or if they ask themselves that is it is it really right to claim that you love animals, but you're also paying for their abuse? Because the only difference between the animals you cherish and the animals you eat is perception.
Right. Okay. So, okay, we have one question from one of the viewers, Rishi. So he's asking, how will we control the animal population? He's a vegan, but he still has this question. So, yeah, how would you like to answer that?
So basically, there is so much animal population. There are so many chickens because there are demands for it. And in order to meet the demands, they need to supply the same, right? So in order to do that, the industry does this thing called artificial insemination.
Okay.
Uh, because there are naturally not so many chickens, they need to artificially inseminate them to meet the demands of the people. Otherwise, see, this is what happens. When people ask me this question that if we stopped eating meat, there would be so many chickens on the road, what will you do? So this is, people will slowly convert into vegan because people will slowly realize that what impact it has on the planet and how wrong it is, that it doesn't match with our morals. So the demand will keep decreasing, and as the demand keeps decreasing, the supply will also keep decreasing. So that is why the
Okay.
animals that they farm today for meat will also decrease.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is the huge population of animal that is present on Earth is because there is a huge demand for it, right? Demand for them and for the products, obviously. Okay, so Shania says, I understand why vegans don't eat meat, but why don't eat vegans eat dairy products or eggs?
Okay, so basically, uh, in India, India is the largest. Uh, I mean, India is a country which uses a lot of dairy. In fact, it in
Mm-hmm.
2019, the country which uses most amount of dairy, and
Right,
people don't know this, but India is also the fourth largest exporter of beef. And this is because the dairy industry is alive, and that is the reason the beef industry is alive. It's like the dairy and leather industry is one side of the coin, and the beef industry is the other side of the coin. So when you pay for dairy products, you're also paying for beef industry, even if you don't even if you don't support it. And the same with eggs. You pay for eggs, but if you pay for eggs, right? So egg and the meat industry are also two sides of a coin. So when you're paying for eggs, you want more demand, right? And for meeting that demand, they need to make sure that there are enough chickens producing that those many eggs. So to meet those many eggs, they need to artificially inseminate them even more, and then they
right, right.
become huge and then they have to kill them more. So that is how it works.
Okay, so it's all correlated. Ah, yeah, I get it. I get it. I hope Shanaya's question has been answered. Okay, for the final question that we'll be taking today, it's by Aryan saying, "Isn't it hard to be a vegan?" I guess you had answered this, but yeah, you may go ahead and repeat it again for the new viewers.
It's not hard. A vegan diet is definitely not hard because that is what I've been having my whole life. Instead of dairy curd, I use vegan curd. Instead of dairy butter, I use vegan butter. The only thing I don't like have now is meat, and instead of that, I have tofu. So my
Mhm.
diet don't have a problem about that at all. But the only thing that is hard is telling people or trying to make them realize that just because society is telling us something doesn't necessarily make it moral or doesn't necessarily make it right. So telling people or trying to give them some information which they get offended by is hard.
Right, right. Okay, I said final question, but I actually found this question by Rakshit a bit interesting. So this will for sure be the final question. So Rakshit asks, won't we become protein deficient if we turn vegan? Because eggs and animals have the highest content of protein among all foods.
Yeah, I completely agree that these food have protein, but as I said before, proteins are only made in plants, and the animals that we consume are also consume the protein from the plant. So we're indirectly taking the plant protein from these animals. So instead of just taking it from those animals, we can directly take it from the plant. And also, uh, there are stuff that compensates the protein that you used to get from meat. Like there's broccoli, there's chickpeas. There are so many thing like food items that are higher in protein and iron than meat, but we aren't aware of that because the corporates and because it's a billion-dollar industry, so they need to make sure that it keeps going on. So they've
Mhm.
created this false thing in our mind that you can only get protein from animals, there's no other source. But the truth is, animals also get their protein from plants.
Right, right. So the animals that we get from so sorry, the proteins that we get from animals are basically the ones that is derived from plants. So
Yeah,
instead of
exactly.
going it through that medium, why not directly consume plants without causing any harm to the animals? Great answer
Exactly.
again. So yeah, that will be the show for today. That'll be the episode for today. And you were great. Let me tell you, you answered all the questions perfectly. And I'm sure that You had motivated a lot of our viewers to at least try to turn themselves into vegans. So yeah, that is it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you learned something, and I hope that I'll meet you next weekend as well with another guest on another topic. And until then, you guys take care. Thank you for joining. Have a good day and goodbye.